Hi Zebras, this is Miss Evans, and today I want to talk to you about evaluating websites. You're going to be using websites for all kinds of research, and it's hard to know sometimes if it's a good website or one that can be trusted, so that's what we're going to be talking about. The first area we're going to talk about is what we call authenticity or reliability. How reliable is the website? Can you count on it? Who created it? So some of the things you want to ask yourself is, what is the domain extension? There's quite a few of them out there now, but some of the main ones are .com, .org, .net, .edu, .gov, etc. And if it's .com, that means it's a commercial site. .org is an organization. .net is a network. .edu is an education site, and .gov is a government site. Where does the information originate? Is it from an established organization, something that an organization that you're familiar with? So we're going to look at this page for just a second and look at some of those extensions. So here's a search on Benjamin Franklin, and as I'm looking through, well, the first one I see is from Wikipedia, and I know that that's really not shouldn't be my first choice to go to, and I believe it's blocked for you anyway. The next one is a Twitter account, twitter.com, so that's definitely not something that you would want to use. Our next one is from something called ushistory.org. That sounds like it might be a reliable website. I don't know yet, but it certainly sounds like it. The next one, biography.com. This is an organization that I'm very familiar with. Now look at this next one. This is an EDU website. That means it's from an educational organization, and it's actually from a school called the Franklin Institute, named after Benjamin Franklin. So I would imagine that would be fairly reliable. History.com, Britannica.com. We know that that's a good resource because it's an encyclopedia. PBS.org, and so forth. So you can see going through here that that's one way that you can get an idea about the website. So you don't want to necessarily just automatically click on the first couple of websites. Alright, so does the information make sense, or can you validate the information using another reliable source? So if it's not a source that you're really familiar with or you know a lot about, like if it's from Britannica, you know it's going to be reliable information. If it's from one of our other databases, you can count on it being reliable. But if it's not, you need to make sure that you can back it up from another source, like by going to Britannica or possibly finding a book in the library that validates that information because it says the same thing. So for example, here's a website about the endangered Pacific Northwest tree octopus, saving it from extinction. So you need to look at this. First of all, it's zapatopi.net. Never heard of that organization, and it's a network. I don't really am not familiar with it. And just looking at this, when I look at this picture right here and I read this, an octopus living in a tree does not make sense to me. So my gut tells me that this is not going to be a reliable website. And in fact, it is not, because there's no such thing. So now I want to talk about objectivity. Is there a bias involved? So what is the purpose of the site? As you know from writing, something that is biased, that means it's trying to convince you of one side or another. That doesn't necessarily mean that the web page is bad, but you have to take that into consideration. So is it objective or subjective? Typically information you find in like Britannica.com, that's going to be objective. But there are other websites that might be subjective. Is it fact or opinion? So let's look at this. This is from, as you see, it's a government website, and it's the Forest and Wildlife Service. So this is going to be more of an objective site. It's going to give facts and information on endangered species. But a site that might show some bias, for example, is this site that is, the whole purpose is to protect endangered species. So that is a good thing, of course. However, their articles and opinions might be biased simply because they want to save the animals. They may not give you all of the facts. And also, are they trying to sell you something? If they're trying to sell you something, of course they're going to be biased because they want to get your money. All right, next, is it current and relevant? So how up to date is the site and how useful is it? So when was the page last updated? So here is an example of a site that right here it's telling me that this is from 1993. And if I look down, usually down at the bottom, it should have the most recent time that it was updated, and this is 1996. Well, that was a really, really long time ago. So that is a very out of date website and not one that you would use. And is it written in a way that you can understand? In other words, is it on your reading level? If it's way above your reading level, then that's not appropriate for you to use for research. Maybe in a few years, but not right now. And will it be useful to your project? You might find websites with lots of interesting information, but if it's not going to be useful to whatever your research project is, then you're wasting your time if you're spending a lot of time looking through the information. All right, and then how does the website look? Efficiency and appearance. Is it user-friendly? Is the information well organized? Is there a table of contents? Some kind of index? Are there menu buttons or other tools to help you navigate? So here's an example. So this, as you see, this website, Colonial Williamsburg, we've got lots of nice menu buttons at the top that lead us to other links. There's also links on the side, menu buttons on the side that will take us to different parts of the page. So this is what I would call a very organized website. Is it presented in a way that's easy to use? Are the fonts easy to read? Are the graphics and headings, are they appealing? Are there misspelled words? That is usually a big clue that it's not a professional website. And how many ads are there on the page? Let's go back to this page right here. I really don't see ads. Doesn't mean that if there are ads it's a bad web page, but if it's full of ads and the page takes a really long time to load because there are so many ads, that's usually not going to be one of your better reliable sites. Also, when you click on the links, do they take you to other helpful websites or other helpful pages within that site, or are they dead links? And a dead link is a link that doesn't go anywhere. When you click on it, you get an error message. So those would be dead links, and you can bet if it has those, then that web page has not been updated in a really long time. All right, smart searching. So a lot of times you want to just go to Google and type in your search, and whatever comes up, that's going to be the first thing you're going to pick. But we want to help you narrow your search, because when I go back to this Benjamin Franklin site, you'll see here I have about 88,200,000 results. That's a lot of results. I don't have time to look through that many. So I want to be more specific. So maybe I'm looking specifically at Benjamin Franklin's childhood. So I can put Benjamin Franklin childhood. And then I'm going to get some more specific information just about his childhood. Maybe I want to get information about him as an inventor. So then I'm going to get more specific information about his inventions. So you want to be specific, but not too specific. Maybe don't put an individual invention. That might not give you the results you want. If you have specific phrases that you want to search, you can put quotation marks around those phrases, and it will search for just those terms in the web pages. Also, the Google search tools give you some ways to search more specifically by date and verbatim, which means the exact wording. So when I click on search tools right here, I can go to any time, which is the default, or maybe I want something that's been updated fairly recently, so it's going to be in the past year, or I can put a custom range. So these are the things that have been updated within the past year. Sort by relevance, sorted by date, all results. That means everything that has these words anywhere in them, anywhere in the page, but verbatim means it's got to have specifically these words, Benjamin Franklin, an inventor. Okay. There's also a tool in Google called Advanced Search, and this allows you to narrow down even more. So I might want to put Benjamin Franklin, and it has all of these words. Or I could put an exact word or phrase, any of these words, none of these words. So maybe I don't want to know anything about his childhood. So I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put inventor back up here. I can narrow it by language, by region, the last update. So again, maybe I want the past year. Site or domain. This is where you can say I don't want anything but government or education websites. It's automatically going to be safe search when you're using it at school, not filtered by license, and there's my advanced search. Okay, so I'm going to take, I didn't get anything this time, so I'm going to go back and take some things out of that. I'm going to take out my government edu. I'm just going to put edu in and see if I get something. Okay, so there I go. So now you'll notice my results only have educational entities as the results. So one more thing to keep in mind, that your best sources may not always show up first. These are the ones that have been chosen most often in this type of search, but sometimes you've got to dig a little deeper, so you might want to not just look at the first page, but read through some of these little summaries at the top, and you might need to go a page or two down to find those really good sites that are going to help you. So that's a little bit about evaluating websites and doing more smart searches, and I hope you've learned something, and thanks for watching.